The night was cold, and the children's home was quiet except for the soft sound of wind against the windows. Little Lila sat on her small bed with a red crayon in her hand, staring at the blank paper in front of her. Other kids had written letters to Santa asking for toys, candy, and warm clothes, but Lila had only one wish in her heart. She slowly wrote her letter, trying not to cry as she wrote the words she had never said out loud. "Dear Santa, please send me a dad. I don't want toys or dolls. I just want someone who will hold my hand, read me stories, and not leave me behind." She looked at the words again and felt scared someone might laugh at her. So she folded the letter and slipped it into the box at the front desk before anyone could see. What she didn't know was that on the other side of the city, a man named Ethan Hale was walking through his huge office, alone as always, unable to sleep in his giant empty home. He never liked holidays because they reminded him of what he never had. He saw the box of letters his staff had collected from the children's home for the company charity event, and without thinking much, he pulled out the top letter. When he opened it and saw the small, shaky handwriting, he froze. Each word felt like a punch straight to his heart, and for the first time in many years, his eyes filled with tears. He held the letter close, feeling something move inside him, something warm he thought had died long ago. That night, he could not stop thinking about the little girl who wrote such a simple and painful wish. By morning, he found himself driving toward the children's home, unsure why, but knowing he had to see her. When he arrived, the director showed him around, and then he saw her, a small girl sitting alone in a corner, drawing quietly, as if the world had forgotten she existed. Ethan stood still for a long moment, feeling a strange pull toward her, a feeling he could not explain, a feeling that told him this meeting was not an accident. And as he walked toward her, he didn't know that this one small letter was about to change both of their lives in a way neither of them ever expected. The next day, Lila sat at a table pushing her food around without hunger, her heart heavy as always. She never expected anything from the world because hope always hurt her. But at that same time, Ethan was on his way back to the children's home, the letter still in his pocket, his mind full of the little girl who wrote it. When he walked in, he saw her again in the same corner, quiet and alone. He sat beside her and spoke softly, telling her he had read her letter. She panicked and said sorry, thinking she had done something wrong, but Ethan told her it was a beautiful letter and it had touched his heart more than anything else in a long time. She looked at him with wide eyes, unsure if she should trust him, but when he asked if he could color with her, she nodded slowly. His bad drawing made her laugh, a soft, shy laugh she didn't even know escaped her. From that day on, Ethan came back again and again, not bringing toys, only bringing time, warmth, and care. Lila slowly learned to smile, to wait for him, to feel safe. But one day, reporters showed up outside, shouting questions about why a rich man was visiting an orphanage. Lila saw the worry on Ethan's face and thought she was the problem. She told him he didn't need to come anymore, saying she didn't want to make things hard for him. Her voice shook when she said kids like her don't get to keep people like him. Ethan felt his chest break at her words and told her she was wrong, that he wanted to be there, that he wasn't going anywhere. He spent weeks meeting social workers and going through checks, proving he was serious. Lila watched him fight for her, afraid each day he would give up, but he never did. Then one cold evening, he came with an envelope and asked her to open it. When she saw the approval papers, she burst into tears. He held her close as she cried and asked softly, "You chose me?" And he said yes, he chose her with his whole heart. They walked outside into the snow together, her tiny hand wrapped tightly in his. She whispered that Santa had not forgotten her, and Ethan smiled and said Santa had not forgotten him either. From that night on, neither of them was alone anymore. The first few weeks in Ethan's home felt like a dream for Lila, and she walked through the big rooms as if she might wake up at any moment and find herself back in the children's home. Ethan tried his best to make her feel safe, waking up early to make breakfast, learning how to braid her hair from online videos, and reading her a story every night even if he was tired from long meetings. Lila had never lived in a house where someone waited for her, cooked for her, or smiled when she walked into the room, so every small kindness touched her in a deep way. Still, she was scared to trust her new life, scared that one mistake would make everything disappear. One morning she spilled orange juice on the kitchen floor and froze in fear, shaking because in her old home mistakes always meant punishment. But Ethan knelt down, wiped the juice with a cloth, and told her accidents happen to everyone. His calm voice confused her, then warmed her, and she slowly understood that she didn't have to be perfect to stay. Days passed and their bond grew stronger. She began leaving drawings for him on his desk, while he left little notes for her on the fridge telling her he was proud of her. But one evening, when Ethan arrived a little late from work, he found her sitting on the stairs with her small backpack packed. Her eyes were red, and she said she overheard people at school saying rich people don't keep kids like her for long, that she would be sent back once he got bored. She had packed to leave before he could send her away. Ethan felt pain run through him like fire and told her to come to him. When she stepped close, he dropped to his knees and pulled her into his arms, telling her she was his daughter now. Not for a day or a week, but always. He told her nothing and no one could replace her, and that his home would always have a place for her no matter what. She began crying so hard that her tiny body shook, and he held her until she felt safe again. After that night, things began to change inside her. She started trusting the warmth around her, trusting that this new life was real. She laughed more, talked more, and waited by the window every evening when Ethan returned so she could run and hug him at the door. One snowy night, they decorated the Christmas tree together, and when they placed the star on top, Lila whispered that this was her first Christmas with a family. Ethan felt tears in his eyes as he hugged her from behind, thinking of the lonely years he had lived before she came. As they sat on the couch watching the lights glow softly, Lila rested her head on his shoulder and said she didn't want Santa to bring her anything else ever again, because she already got her wish. Ethan kissed her forehead and told her she was the best gift he had ever received. And in that warm, quiet moment, they both knew that their hearts, once empty and hurting, had finally found a place where they belonged, with each other.